Hi everyone, it's Nick. Welcome back to my channel. Okay, in this video today, we are going to be talking about bathroom interior design mistakes. Interior design mistakes that you may be making in the bathroom. As always, if it's intentional and you love it, then it's not a mistake and you can keep doing it for all I care because I don't know you. I'm never gonna go to your bathroom. And so you can do what you want there. Now, listen, if there's something on this list that you're like, but this seems like a mistake too, and it didn't make Nick's list, it probably made my last bathroom design mistakes video, so you can check that out. I'm gonna link it at the end of this video. Let's get going. Let's see all the stuff that you're doing in the bathroom that's probably wrong. Okay, let's get going. Okay, first up on my list is gonna be inadequate storage. So first I wanna talk about pedestal sinks, right? Specifically when dealing with storage solutions. They're not very good for storage, okay? They might be cute, you might really like them, they might seem classy, they might seem sleek and modern, and you might think that this is a really great idea, but you're gonna have to have additional storage because this is wasted real estate, right? By not having proper storage under your sink, because you have a vanity or something like that you could put there, by putting in a pedestal, you're losing a great opportunity to store. Now, if you have a really big luxurious bathroom, that's fine. You might not necessarily need that extra storage and you might just really fall in love with this idea of a pedestal sink, but don't get me started on vessel sinks, but you might fall in love with a pedestal sink if that's what you want, but just remember, you're gonna have to have the right space to put extra stuff. Now, there is a difference between a powder room or a guest bath versus a primary bath, right? So depending on the needs of the bathroom, if we're in a powder room, you might not need as much storage. You might be fine just with sort of having some extra spots for, extra toilet paper or soap or towels, something like that. That might just be plenty of space that you need there. If it's a primary, I would really second guess the idea of putting in something like a pedestal sink, unless you've got a massive like 200, 300, 500 square foot bathroom or something. So if you're Gwyneth Paltrow, obviously you can do what you want, but she's not watching my videos, let's be honest. But like if you're a normal person with a normal size bathroom, you really got to be careful with how much real estate you're giving up to something like a pedestal sink. You want to make sure you have adequate storage. So this is things like under counter storage is fantastic. Something like a wonderful vanity can make a lot of sense. A cabinet system can make sense. A medicine cabinet. Medicine cabinets, I think, are underrated. In my personal opinion, I think they're underrated. There are actually not that many medicine cabinets around. I feel like people don't put them in. Sometimes they go in and out of fashion. I feel like they've been out for a long time. I think they're great. You can buy them where they sit on the wall, which might make sense for you. Or if you're doing a full renovation and you want to go and really kind of, have fun with it, you can also actually inset it inside the wall so that the actual storage is inside the wall, and then the mirror itself just folds open and it's completely hidden and flush with the wall when not in use, but providing all sorts of really great storage that you need for toothpaste, deodorant, flossers. You should floss, all the things, like all that stuff is in there, and it's really super accessible for people to use. It's super practical. It's right there at face height, if you will, and it just makes a lot of sense. So inadequate storage, people not taking into account, especially in the primary, all the space and things that they're gonna need. Now, if you have a guest room as well, or you have a bath for the kids or what have you, you're also gonna need storage in there as well. But again, depending on your use case for what you're looking to do in that bathroom, I would really kind of consider what storage is actually required there. Now, again, primary, you need more storage than you think. I've never said, oh, I have too much storage in my bathroom. What am I to do with it? You know what I mean? No one's ever said that. There's always so much crap you're going to accumulate in there, from expired hand creams to, 12 packs of deodorant that you bought from Costco. You know what I mean? You got to store all that stuff. So get extra storage in your primary, especially, you're going to need it. Also, can I just say real quick that drawers, in my opinion, are superior to cabinets. There, I said it. Yes, there are cabinet solutions underneath that can make sense, but they're just like a lot of the stuff that you need, especially in the bathroom, is really small. You don't actually really need a whole lot of big chunky storage because again, it's mostly storing like, cosmetics and things. And for makeup and cosmetics, you actually don't really need big, giant, cavernous cabinets in the bathroom, in my opinion. Yes, you might need some cabinet storage for things like towels and things like that, but I would just be really careful with that. And by the way, I've said it before, but really be careful with open storage when it comes to like open shelving units and things like that. When it comes to the bathroom, you might think it's great for storage. It's not. It's gonna make your place look like a cluttered mess if you have too much of it. It's mostly gonna be for cute little display items you might wanna put in your bathroom, like, I don't know, a candle or like some cute things that people put in bathrooms. I don't know, most things in bathrooms aren't particularly cute, but maybe you have some cute stuff. That type of stuff belongs on open storage. Sure, like, I don't know, maybe you gotta, maybe you have some sort of beach scene or something like that, a beach theme, which I wouldn't advise. And maybe you've got that and you want a big conch shell and what to display in your bathroom. Great, that's the moment where open storage or an open shelving system might make sense. It's not there to display the Costco pack of Sensodyne toothpaste. Do you know what I mean? So be careful careful with open storage, be careful with the open shelving. A little bit's fine to display cute things, but you don't need that much of it. Okay, next up on my list is going to be, this is obvious, but like, it's obvious, but yeah, we all do it, which is just too much clutter. This is bringing back the storage that we just talked about. This is now the result because you didn't get enough storage, or you're just lazy and you don't put away, which also, like, I get you, but I feel it because, you know, we're all there. But I think it's important that no matter what you take away from this video in terms of cute little design things that you can do in your bathroom, if you've piled it full of so many cosmetics on your bathroom countertop, no cute tile is gonna save you. Do you know what I mean? No beautiful grout that you saw, like a glitter grout that you found on TikTok is going to, it's not cute by the way, but you might think it is. That's not gonna save your bathroom to make it look adorable if you've got 400 bottles of makeup that, I don't know, Jeffree Star recommended or something, and therefore you bought all of it, and now you've got all your palettes because you bought all the beauty YouTubers crap, and now what are you to do? You've got so much of this stuff sitting on your countertop, it's gonna look like a hot mess. So all that is to say, a reminder, it's a mistake to leave too much clutter on your bathroom countertop. Now, what is the solution to that? Don't be lazy, number one. Number two would be, which we all need to hear that, myself included, but number two would be design your bathroom with your lowest common denominator of how you're actually going to live. So you're probably not going to sit and put all your stuff like under a counter in a little tin with a lid on top. Like, that's probably not you, because we're trying to go for the lowest common denominator when it comes to organization. So I would choose maybe a countertop solution, like a cute little basket, something like that, that's a really low hanging fruit for you to use every day, something you're practically going to use every day, and not something that is a bit idealistic in terms of how you're actually going to work and how you're going to actually behave in the bathroom, right? So go for the lowest common denominator, assume the worst in yourself when it comes to how you're going to organize and keep yourself sort of clutter free, and then work on a solution like baskets, like little organizers, make them super accessible so that you're actually going to use them. Ideally behind a closed storage solution so that you don't have to look at it every day. That's the answer. Don't be lazy. Design for the worst part of yourself. Okay, next up on my list is not having enough electrical outlets or not being really creative with your electrical outlets. Now this, of course, is going to depend on where you live. For example, I just went to the UK a couple of weeks back and was shocked to find out that they don't put electrical outlets like at all in their bathrooms. And I'm like, where does one charge? Where are we charging our Philips Sonicare? Where are we, what are our electric shavers? What about our hair dryers? What are we doing? No plan, there's no plan. I don't know. They run them from other rooms apparently. I guess it's a hazard. Other countries seem to have figured it out, but apparently it's a hazard in the UK. Like, also another thing that might be code in your area, might not be code depending on things like your legislation, would be things like electrical outlets inside drawers, right? So some places do allow it, some places don't. If they do allow it, they're very handy, right? To be able just to open a drawer there, and you've already got like your hair dryer plugged in, and then you can just like take it out, use it, and put it back in the drawer and put it away. That is ideal, but again, that might not be code in your area. So look at the code, understand, obviously, if you're doing a bathroom renovation, which you probably are if you're playing with electrical, I wouldn't advise that you just DIY that yourself with your little whatever IKEA Fixa system or something on the weekend. This is not DIY friendly. So if you hire an electrician, and you should, or a contractor, they will of course know what you can and can't do, but I would really pay attention to where your electrical outlets are. Try to make them really convenient if, you know, where you can put them in, because I am never mad at having a few extra electrical outlets in the bathroom, because you're always charging something. There's always new things coming on the market. There's always new things on the TikTok shop that you've decided to pick up on a whim, which is obviously going to be a mistake, but you buy it anyway. And that's probably going to have an outlet, and you're going to have to figure out where you're going to put it, right? So make sure that you have adequate outlets to be able to use to kind of get yourself ready in the morning. That is important. Okay, next up on my list is going to be choosing the right tile or the right materials in your bathroom. So there's a couple of things here. First of all, we're going to talk about the aesthetics. Well, second of all, we're going to talk about the aesthetics, because the first thing we're going to talk about is safety, which is that when you're in the bathroom, right, we talked a little bit about the electrical and how you don't want to light your house on fire by putting electrical outlets near water, but again, that depends on code. But for tile, you want to make sure that you check with the manufacturers, wherever you're getting your tile from, check with your contractors to make sure that it is appropriate for the bathroom. Something like, for example, a large format tile in a shower is probably, depending on the material, going to be quite slippery, which is a safety hazard. So when you're dealing in the bathroom, make sure that you're choosing the correct materials that are gonna make sense. Something like hardwood, something like carpet is not gonna be a great solution in the bathroom for obviously mold related issues. Ugh. But on top of that, you know, you wanna take into account slippery surfaces and things like that, because obviously everybody's gonna be wet in the bathroom, right? And you don't necessarily, you wanna choose the materials that I think are gonna work for you without necessarily having to resort to the rubber ducky stickies. Unless that's what you wanna do in order to prevent slippage, that's fine, that can be work for safety. But if you just choose the right tile, maybe you don't have to necessarily do that, right? So for example, in my last place that I really loved is I had penny rounds, because on one hand, some people might say that penny rounds might not make sense. Some people don't like small format tiles in something like a shower. I actually do like them because depending on your grout and whatever, it provides, grout is great for providing a lot of grip so that you never feel like you're gonna slip. So very, very stable solution to use a lot of grout. Something like a large format tile, something in a glossy porcelain is, you might as well, I mean, every morning is a challenge. Every day is a new adventure to see if you make it out of the shower alive. And I just don't think that's an adventure that you're ready for. So choose materials that make sense for you. Now, in terms of aesthetics, we want to take into account different tiles, because you might be using multiple tiles, you might be using paint, you might be using wallpaper. Make sure that you're choosing the materials that are going to work together aesthetically. So you might want to pair something really loud, so like a graphic marble or some sort of really funky tile, and pair it with something much simpler and much more sort of quiet and soft, rather than having something really cluttered and chaotic, right? You might love hexagon tiles, and you might think that it's super fun to put hexagons all over the place in multiple colors and in a mosaic pattern, and you might go completely super crazy. Now, I'm not saying I love a funky tile, so I'm not saying don't choose an interesting tile, but pairing some of those with something a little bit simpler to provide a little bit more balance to the space, so it doesn't necessarily feel as chaotic as you might think it would, right? So in addition to safety, also, yeah, I kind of alluded to this with carpet, because obviously carpet in the bathroom is disgusting, but I think even if you're gonna choose things like wood, if you're going to choose natural stone, right? If you're gonna choose quartz, just make sure that you check with the manufacturer where you're buying it, check with your contractor or your designer if you're using one. And I mean, if you're using a designer, these people should know this, but just make sure that you're using materials that are appropriate for the bathroom, right? Shockingly, people do like to use weird materials that are like going to trap mold, that are going to be dangerous when wet, and you just want to avoid some of those things. They should make sense for the bathroom. Double check that before you sort of move forward. Now, powder room might be a little bit different, right? No one's showering in the powder room unless you have very weird guests, right? So they're probably just in there to go to the bathroom, wash their hands and move on like a normal person. So that you might be able to play with a little bit more of an opportunity to have a bit more fun with some creative wallpaper. While in a primary, it's all fun and games until your beautiful, amazing tropical wallpaper starts peeling off the walls because of all the moisture happening. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's a bit steamy in there. So you want to sort of choose your materials carefully, depending on the use of the bathroom, the type of the bathroom. Always check with the manufacturer first. Okay, next up on my list is choosing the right faucets and the different finishes in the bathroom. So things like your drawer pulls, things like your robe hooks, things like that. Choosing the right materials, the right sort of faucets and finishes is going to make a huge difference in your bathroom, and going to be quite a mistake if you choose the wrong ones. So things to look out for. I would say, for example, drawer pulls or hooks and things, it's a very small space that aren't gonna sort of hook on any clothing or any body parts that are going to be questionable. Do you know what I mean? Like, we want to make sure that, you know, you're not dealing with sharp, angular, different drawer pull. I don't know where I'm going with that, but you kind of get where I'm going. Like drawer pulls and things that you're having in this space that are going to catch on all your towels, catch on all your clothes, catch on whatever. That's not really what we're trying to do in the bathroom, right? So make sure that you choose ones that, you know, make sense for such a small space. Or of course, things that you might be painful if you lean against, for example. Also, choosing the right finishes for things like your faucets and your metals and things in the bathroom, I think makes a lot of sense. So choosing, you know, you want to be careful of some finishes like chrome or matte black or whatever. They might potentially not have the longevity that you're looking for with things like water stains. So obviously make sure you're buying quality stuff that it's going to stand the test of time and is appropriate for a bathroom. If you're choosing a reputable manufacturer like Kohler or Moen or American Standard or whatever, you're probably going to be fine, but just something to keep in mind. And of course, if you're choosing all the same finish, you could choose, you know, brass, brushed gold, you could choose chrome, you could choose all rub bronze, you can use matte black, you can do chrome, whatever you're choosing to do. If you choose one type of finish for everything, then that makes things really simple, right? If you are going to mix your metals, all I would advise there is make sure that the same metal choice that I actually have a lot to say about mixed metals, but we'll just stick to the highlights here, which is choosing the mixed metal that is going to make sense for the use case. So for example, you know, water related things like your faucet and your tub filler should be the same finish, right? While something like your robe hook and your drawer pulls should be the same finish. So if you are gonna mix metals, just make sure that things that have the same sort of use case match. So I would advise like all your faucets in the bathroom are the same color. I wouldn't necessarily choose a chrome tub filler and then have a, you know, brass faucet. I think that looks weird. I think that if you want to though, say, play with it a little bit and have different colored drawer pulls versus the faucet, I think that's fine. That one makes a lot of sense because it has a different use. Therefore, it'll make sense. It generally when it comes to choosing your metal finishes for the bathroom, I would just advise that, you know, you choose something that sort of works with the rest of the color palette and the color scheme that you chose in the space, right? So treat this metal, it doesn't have to match the metals in the kitchen, right? You can choose ones that are appropriate for the bathroom, but ones that sort of work with the color scheme that you have. So timeless combinations would be something like a blue and gray bathroom. Probably makes a lot of sense to put in a cool tone metal, something like chrome or brushed nickel, right? Well, if you're choosing something in like a warm burgundy and you're thinking what would work here, something like a really cool brass, so you're kind of playing with a gold and red sort of look, can make a lot of sense and also be really stunning. So choose the metal that makes sense for the rest of the color palette, take the base color metal and incorporate that into the entire palette in the space. Also, take into account things like the placement. This is of course assuming you're doing a renovation. Take into account the placement of like where you're putting your shower heads, where you're putting the little on and off switch and the temperature and stuff like that in the space. If you choose to do a rainfall shower head, if you choose to do, you know, one with a detachable, whatever you sort of choose, those are fine, but consider those things. Also, if you're able to, I think it's really nice to consider that if you're gonna put the on and off or the hot and cold, don't put it right under the shower head, just because no one likes to get up in the morning and stand in the shower and you immediately put put it to on and freezing cold water comes out and you immediately have to like run and duck and hide because you don't want to get like blasted at 6:30 in the morning by freezing cold water. So that's a good example of how it might make sense. Talk to your plumber because they might be a little bit annoyed because you're moving the plumbing, but it really depends, right? Putting the plumbing a little bit further away so that you can actually open and turn on the shower, and then the shower comes on and you don't have to like duck and hide and duck and roll out of there because freezing cold water is blasting in your face. So take into account all the sort of placements of all the jets and the shower heads and the nozzles and all that sort of stuff, fun stuff. Okay, next up is to really pay attention to your sort of heat and water sort of management in your bathroom. So some really nice luxurious things would be things like a towel warmer is really gorgeous, heated floors are really beautiful, and if ever there was a time for you to put that sort of stuff in, if you're doing a renovation, now is really kind of the time to do it. Those are wonderful. I think it's one of those things that like if you've never experienced it before, you're probably like, do I really need that? And then once you experience it, I think there's no going back. It's like flying in business class, you know what I mean? Like at first you're just like, how good could it be? And then you go once and you're like, no, okay, it's actually magic. You know what I mean? Like it's like once you have heated floors, I think you're just like, okay, yeah, this is actually really awesome. So might be something that you may want to consider. Also, you know, airflow, steam, things like that. Make sure that you have, of course, the appropriate ventilation so that your place doesn't get all steamy and fogged up in there and you have no solution for how to handle basic things like steam. If you're hiring a good contractor, all of this stuff should be fairly simple, but if you're doing a lot of this yourself, that's something that you might not necessarily have thought of. Also, when dealing with things like steam and ventilation and stuff, right, that becomes especially important. If you are putting in something like wallpaper, you want to make sure, of course, that you're choosing wallpaper appropriate for the bathroom, like I mentioned earlier, but paint also in the same category, right? Make sure that you're choosing paint that is appropriate for the bathroom with all the condensation happening in there. Even things like open shelving, like I talked about. I'm not always the biggest fan of open shelving. Don't know if you heard, but like if you have so much open shelving in your space and that's so you got like all your toilet paper sitting out, I don't know why you're displaying toilet paper, but maybe you made that choice for yourself, then all that condensation, not going to be great for that either, right? So make sure that you're sort of choosing appropriate ways to manage the condensation and steam and water and heat and all those wonderful things that are happening in the bathroom. Okay, and then next up on my list is going to be lighting. Lighting. Of course it comes down to lighting because it usually does when it comes to design, let's be honest. The biggest tip I have for you in lighting is that one light in the center of the bathroom is not going to do it. Overhead lighting is obviously very unflattering and also doesn't help you complete the tasks that you need to do in the bathroom, right? So we talk about task lighting in the lighting category a lot. You've heard me say that. Well, what are the tasks that you're doing in the bathroom? You're putting your makeup on, you're doing your hair, you're brushing your teeth, you're washing your face, you're doing all those little things, right? right? So how do you do all that if you don't have proper lighting? This is where having multiple lighting sources really makes a huge difference. So rather than just having that one light in the center of the room, having multiple lights makes a huge difference. Under cabinet lighting can be really great, especially if it's on a motion sensor. So you're coming in the bathroom at 3 in the morning because you need to go pee, and you're just like, you walk in and it has like a little subtle glow. So it doesn't blast you and wake you up. It's at 3 in the morning, but it does give you, you know, just enough light that you need to be able to do the job. And that's really a wonderful thing. Sconces. Sconces are really great. They're classic in bathrooms, honestly. They create a beautiful sense of symmetry in a bathroom. They are wonderful if you have a double sink. You can maybe have 3, that's a wonderful thing, or you could even do 4, depending on the size of the double sink. If you have a single sink, having the 2 is also wonderful. And those are gonna provide more adequate lighting in your face as opposed to just that one single light above you. So multiple lighting. If you've got the cabinet lighting, you've got the sconces, and you've got ambient lighting as well in the space, much better to be able to do the tasks that you need to do in the bathroom, and it's also gonna be a lot more gorgeous as well. Also, like, don't be afraid of like, dare I even say, I'm gonna go a little rogue, like, don't also be scared of something like a table lamp or getting really creative with some of your lighting solutions in the bathroom. There's lots of things that are kind of really fun that people are doing. You know, I found in my Amazon video, I mentioned before that I had like this little cute little Amazon light that is completely waterproof, and some people are using those in the bathroom. Like, things like that can be really cute and can make a lot of sense in a bathroom. You know, don't necessarily just be stuck with the idea that you got that one light and maybe a couple of sconces. Get creative. There's lots of different lighting solutions that are out there. There's all sorts of mirrors and stuff that are out now where they've got basically the light solutions sort of built in, the LED lights. Those might work for you. Sometimes I don't always love the look of them, but that's just me. There's lots of solutions out there for people that are getting really creative with their lighting in the bathroom, which I think is a wonderful thing. So that's it for me for today, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this video. I'm gonna link here to my last bathroom design mistakes that I did. Like, I don't even know when I make these videos, you guys, a few years back. Go check it out. It's got other things that are not on this list. Go check that video out, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks a lot. Bye.